the CMA just announced that the sky is blue. The CMA just announced that the water's wet. The CMA just announced that the sun is hot. All right, it's ridiculous. They finally admitted, hey, if Microsoft buys Activision, there's not going to be any change in competition. They're not going to have an upper hand or anything like that. We all knew that. Everybody knows that. The CMA has been a pawn for Sony, and now that they have all the evidence, they just can't deny the truth.
So this week, the CMA released their provisional findings regarding Microsoft's purchase of Activision Blizzard and King, and they found to not be in favor or to not be in agreement with what Sony was telling them and how Microsoft owning Activision will damage the high-end console industry. This is great news considering that when the CMA first began talking about what their findings or what they were leaning toward, mimicking all of the Sony talking points that were released from the Brazil findings last year. I'm interested to know in what evidence was given to them, because apparently they came to this conclusion after some piece of evidence Microsoft gave them last week.
The evidence that Microsoft sent them is probably not only financial, but it's also probably stuff from Sony's documents.
So I really want to know what that could have been. I mean, this was all glaringly obvious. They probably just gave them some financial report that they've never seen or that they've never reported. Like, look at us. We're doing terrible. We make nowhere near as much money as Sony does in the console business. So there's no way owning this piece and them still getting the game for at least the next 10 years that this is going to make them somehow not be able to compete anymore. Like, it was irrational.
The news coming out that the exclusivity deals and the payments they're giving companies, the same things that the FTC has been finding out. People in the Senate have been talking about. It could be stuff like that too.
That's an interesting point. It could be the stuff that they sent to the Senate about Sony having a 98% monopoly on the high-end console market that they created. Sony got them to create a separation of the console markets, leaving Nintendo out of it, which then shows that Sony has a 98% monopoly in Japan. They got 98% in Japan, 70% in the EU. How is this going to harm competition? And when you just look at those numbers, it's irrational to say that anything like that is even close to possible. The most, if they made Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox, maybe they'll make it 50-50, and that's a big maybe.
Microsoft admitted it would be dumb for them to take Call of Duty off of PlayStation. Potentially 150 million players that will play it. It'll make them lose a lot of money, so they wouldn't do that.
Microsoft responds on CNBC saying, "We appreciate the CMA's rigorous and thorough evaluation of the evidence and welcome its updated provisional findings." So they sent them this stuff, most likely what we just talked about, and now they're doing victory laps. So this is basically a done deal, it seems like. What I really hope that they say that the purchase can go through with no other concessions than what they've made. And that leaves Sony in the dark because they never signed that contract. That 10-year contract never got signed. So whatever deal they're going to make is going to be real bad for them, most likely, after all this.
Sony deserves that. Sony has been dominating the competition. They have all the exclusivity deals. They got sweet third-party deals, especially with Call of Duty. They got beta access and early launches and exclusive content. But like you said, they never signed the 10-year contract. So what I hope Microsoft does is those same exclusivity deals, the content, and of course Game Pass, they have all of that. People will be not too bright to buy Call of Duty on PlayStation over Xbox.
Yeah, because I'm sure in that contract, the plan was everybody has the beta at the same time. All the maps go at the same time, or the weapon skins at the same time. There would be no exclusivity. But now, since they didn't sign that contract, it's probably going to be, sorry, no more of that. Now, the beta is only on Xbox. These skins are only on Xbox and Switch and PC, everywhere but Sony. The PlayStation ecosystem will feel the same pain that everybody else has, not getting this early access, not getting these skins, not getting these guns. A slap in the face to Jim Ryan for causing all this trouble, and it's like, here's what you get.
They should make it the number one place for Call of Duty. Not taking it away from anybody, but they should make it so that it's better to buy it on Xbox.
The only downside to all this that people don't really understand the impact it's going to have is that their exclusivity contract runs out next year. So presumably the deal, the way they have it in place now, the next year will be the last year. So they won't be able to have Call of Duty in Game Pass until, at the minimum, is what I'm thinking, is 2 years, 2025, because the way those contracts have been written out, it's usually for 1 year. So if the last year is next year, that's next year's Call of Duty. So it'll probably run out the following year after that. That's when it will be finally over, is my guess. And if you got to wait 2 years to get Call of Duty in Game Pass, that kind of sucks.
It would be sweet for Game Pass day one, or maybe they'll even do all the old Call of Duties on Game Pass day one once they buy it.
Yeah, but are people really going to go back and play those older Call of Duties? Like, nobody's going to go back and play the Call of Duty from 2 years ago just because it's on Game Pass.
There's campaigns that people maybe didn't play and, you know, things like that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I guess we'll see.
If you liked our content, mash that like button. And if you're new to the channel and want to see more content, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.